Hello, we are going to be doing Unit 5, Lesson 2 today. Learning objective is I can divide with whole numbers by dividing when the divisor has 2 digits, so 2-digit divisor. Also, I will explore division problems in which one or both estimated digits must be adjusted. So we're talking when the digits in your quotient need to be adjusted. Vocabulary that you should know and use. Estimate, find about how many or about how much, often by using rounding or benchmarks. Close and easy is what I always tell students. Something close to the real numbers, but easy to use. Overestimate, an estimate that is too large. If you estimate and it's too large, it's called an overestimate. Adjust is to change an estimated quotient because you overestimated or underestimated. So what we're basically going to be doing today is learning how to estimate because we don't know our facts through 99. Those aren't basic facts anymore. All right. Estimating place by place. So we have this math situation. Suppose 2,048 sheep are to be sent on a train. Each railroad car holds 32 sheep. So I can put 32 sheep in a car and I have 2,048 sheep. So I would use a rectangular model to represent that. My total or my whole is 2,048. I want to put them into groups of 32. So we need to find out how many railroad cars are needed for the sheep. We're going to divide 2,048 by 32. We're looking for how many groups of 32 will we have. Okay, so to solve this, we might try to estimate the answer. Perhaps we round our divisor to the nearest tens. See, here's our divisor, 32. So I want to round it to the nearest tens to give me something easy to divide by. What does 32 round to in tens? That's right, 30, because I look at the ones. 2 ones aren't enough to say I'm halfway to 40. Next, use that estimated divisor to try and figure out the answer, one place at a time. Start by trying to figure out about how many 30s fit into 200. Then use that to solve the actual division problem. Here's how I work it. I have 2,048. So I am going to estimate that 32 is about 30. So in my mind, I'm going to keep that thought. Here, that's my little brain bubble. All right, let me change colors here. So I'm going to do my regular division. 2, can I divide 2,000? If I had two $1,000 bills, could I break them into groups of 32? No. If I had 20 $100 bills, could I put them into a group of 32? No. But if I had 204 $10 bills, I could. I like to put a line there and there sometimes to say, hey, I'm going to need a tens and a ones. Now, again, I don't know my 32s very well. I definitely don't know how many 32s go into 204, but I use that estimated 30. Why is 30 easy? Because I can really think of the 3. How many 3s go into 20? Well, that's 6. So there's my estimate. I'm going to estimate my quotient to be about 6 32s and 204. There's about 6 30s and 204. So there's about 6 32s and 204. Now 6 multiplied by 32. I can do this using mental math. 6 multiplied by 30 is 180. 6 multiplied by 2 is 12. 180 plus 12 is 192. If you're not comfortable doing that, there's no problem going 32 multiplied by 6. It's just difficult for me to write with my pad. And it's good practice to multiply too. 6 multiplied by 2 is 12. That's 1 10 and 2 ones. 6 multiplied by 3 tens is 18 tens plus 1 more 10 make 19 tens. Yep, I nailed it. 192. Now I'm going to subtract. So I use 6 groups of 32, which is 192. When I subtract, I get 2. 20 subtract 19 is 110. 12 is less than 32, so I was good there. Bring down my 8 to now have 128 ones. How many 32s in 128? Don't know. So I'm going to think of my estimated 30. Use the 3. How many 3s in 1? No. How many 3s in 12? Ah, there's 4. Let's try 4. 4 multiplied by 32. One way I can think is 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12 tens. 128. Yep, 128 is less than 28. In fact, it is the same as 128. So that is how you use an estimate of your divisor to estimate your quotient to get a starting point. Now, what I want to show you here, and please just replay that once in a while if you need some help with it, is here it was digit to digit what I did. Here it is using the place value sections, or what I call, or we're used to calling, the area model, is how many 30s go into 2048. There would be 60 in 204. 60 multiplied by 32 gave them 1,920. They still had 128 left. The 128 then comes into the next section, place value section. It's really the 10 section. How many 30s are in 128? 4. 4 multiplied by 32 is 128, nothing left. Expanded notation, which really is the same as the digit by digit, only you're putting it all the way across on top. How many 30s goes into 2000? About 60. 60 multiplied by 32 is 1,920. Subtract gets 128. That's a key thing. Make sure when you multiply 60, you multiply by 32, not by your estimated 30. That's why I really don't write it. I just keep it in my head. Then estimate the next number. How many 30s in 128? There's about 4. 4 groups of 32 is 128. Subtract, we get 0. Then add the 4 and the 60. So if you're still using one of these, that's fine. There it is for you. Please, I do implore that you work on using digit by digit. Just look at how more efficient it is. All right, now page 198. I'm going to solve number 1, and then you can pause the video and work ahead of me one step at a time if you like. Then you will solve problems 2 and 3, and then watch me do them and compare. So right now, here's our problem, or our situation, I should say. Look at exercise 1 through 3. Would you round the divisor up or down to estimate the first digit of the quotient? Complete each exercise. Well, I'm talking you through one of them. All right. Would you round 79 up or down? Up, you're right. 9 ones takes me up. This is closer to 80. Now, I don't really have room to write my little, well, yeah, sure I do. I can go over that. This is just kept in my head. I'm just thinking of it as 80. Does 80 go into 4? No. Can I take groups of 80 out of 40? No. So I'm starting here. And if you look, I definitely don't have room to do it here. I hope you're doing it in your notebook instead of on here. So I'm starting in the hundreds. Often what I'll also do is tell students, if you were with me, especially if you get lost in track, is to take something and just cover up the rest of it. Pretend it's not there. All right, if I pretend that's not there, now I just have 403 divided by 79. Well, I don't know how many 79s in 403, so I'm going to take my estimated 80 and say, hey, how many 8s in 4? None. How many 8s in 40? Or how many 8s can I take out of 40? Well, I can take 5 out. So I'm thinking there are 5 80s in 403. There's probably 5 79s. Well, how would I multiply 5 by 79? I would multiply 5 by 80 and then subtract one group of 5. 5 multiplied by 80 is 400. So that would be 80 groups of 5. 79 groups of 5 would be 400 subtract 5, or 395. That's where our number talks really came in handy for Mr. Springer. Again, if I wanted to, I could write 79 over here, multiply by 5, do my 9. 5 multiplied by 9 is 45. 7 multiplied by 9 is 35, plus 4 is 395. Either way, whatever works for you. All right. Now, again, I think I can use mental math. I can go and count up. 395, up 5 would be 400. Up 3 more would be 4 and 3. 5 and 3 is 8. I have 8 left. Again, I could ungroup and go along if I like. Now, compare. 8 is less than 79. Now, all I have to do is scooch this over, and voila, there's my 2 back. And I can slide her on down, change my 8 10s to 80 ones, plus 2 more ones is 82 ones. Super easy. Actually, I know how many 79s are in 82, but if I wanted to use my 80, there's 180 in 82. So there's probably 179 in 82. 1 multiplied by 79 is 79. And subtract away. Again, I think I would count up 1 to 80, and then up another 2, makes a total of going up 3. Now, I don't know if they told me what to do with my remainder, so I'm just going to write it as a remainder as a whole number. R, and I like using a period after it, remainder 3. All right. At this point, what I suggest you do is pause the video and do numbers 2 and 3. So here's a good look at it, and I'll stop a second. Welcome back. You must have just completed number 2 and 3. How did you round 21? Well, that's right. 21 is closer to 20. So I'm going to think of it as 20. Why is 20 easy to divide by? Because really I'm just dividing by the 2. Is 1, can I put 1 into a group of 21? No. Can I put 15 into a group of 21? Almost, but not quite. So again, I'm going to have 1, 2 digits in my quotient. And again, I would be doing this in my notebook because there's just not room here. Now, I don't know how many 21s there are in 153, but I do know that there are, how many 2s are in 15 is 7. That's a basic fact. So I think there's 7, I know there's 7 20s in 153. There's probably 7 21s. 7 multiplied by 21, well, 7 multiplied by 20 is 140, plus 7 more is 147. That wasn't a bad one for me. My subtraction Why don't I go a little bit of old school and actually do it? 5 subtract 3, I can't. Or 3 subtract 7, I can't. Ungroup one of my 5, so I have 4 left. That 1 becomes 10 more, so I have 13. Subtract 7, I know is 6. 4 subtract 4 is 0. 1 subtract 1 is 0. So I have 6 left. 6 is less than 21, so it compares good for me. Bring down my 3 to say I now have 63 divided by 21. I don't know how many 21s are in 63, so I'm going to use my rounded divisor of 20. How many 2s are there in 6? There are 3, so there's 3 20s in 63. So there's probably 3 21s in 63. And guess what? 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. Good old distributive property lets me do that. And subtract gives me 0. Makes me think I made a mistake over here having a remainder. Now, if you're still having problems with this, maybe rewatch the video, take a look, check that you did this one correctly, and before you watch me do it now. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I think I'm going to just rewrite this here since I have all this room and I don't have to use their tiny eeny beady stuff. 1061 divided by 18. Talk to your parents and tell them that's what this means. A lot of students will think it's 18 divided by 1061. It's not. It's 1061 divided by 18. If I wrote it vertically, it would be written 1061 divided by 18. All right. First step always. Where am I going to get started? Are there any, can I put 1 into groups of 18? Nope. If I have 1 of something, I can't put into a group of 18. If I have 10 of something, can I put them into a group of 18? Or can I take groups of 18 out? Cannot. But if I have 106, I can. So again, we have 2-digit quotient. All right. Now, I don't know how many 18s are in 106, so I'm going to think of 18 as rounding it. Let's see. I'm going to round it to the nearest tens. 8 is more than halfway. 5 is halfway, so definitely going to round up 1 to 2. 1t. 18 is closer to 20 than 10. So I'm going to round it to 20. Now I'm going to look and say, just use the 2. How many 2s in 1? No. How many 2s in 10? There's 5. So there's probably 5 20s in 106. So there's probably about 5 18s. I think I'm going to pull 18 down below and multiply it by 5 just to be sure I get it right. I'm pretty sure it's 90, but 5 multiplied by 8 is 40. 5 multiplied by 110 is 5 tens, plus 4 more tens make 9 tens. Yep, it's 90. Ooh, 90 might be a little too little. 5 groups of 18 we said were 90, so I used 90 to make 5 groups of 18. I used 90 tens to make 5 groups of 18. 6 subtract 0 is 6. 10 subtract 9 is 1. Woo, that was close. But 16 is less than 18, so my compare tells me I could not get another group of 18 out. Let's bring down the 1, change those 16 tens to 16, or to 16, 161s. So I have 161 ones divided by 18. Definitely no idea how many 18s are in 161. So I'm going to use my estimated 20 and just use the first digit, the 2. How many 2s are in 1? None. How many 2s in 16? Or how many 2s can I take out of 16? I can take 8. There's 8 20s in 161, so there's about 8 18s in 161. Again, not comfortable using mental math to multiply that, so let's pull her to the side. Probably would do it on another piece of paper though, but I don't have another piece of paper that I can show you. 8 multiplied by 8, 64. That's 6 10s, 4 1s. 8 multiplied by 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14. 144. All right, so 8 was not too large. I didn't overestimate. So 8 groups of 18. Remember, I multiplied 8 by 18, not by my estimated 20. What is left? 1 subtract 4, I need to ungroup. Ungroup one of my 10s, so I only have 5. Gives me 10 more, which makes 11. 1 subtract 4 1s are 7 1s. 5 10s subtract 4 10s is 110. 100 subtract 100 is 0. 17 is less than 18, so 8 18ths were all I could take out. If I have nothing to bring down and they didn't tell me to do anything else with my remainder, I'm just going to use 17 as my whole number remainder. So my quotient here is 58. Remainder 17. Oh, 17. Cool. Now, our next activity. So that might be the end of a lesson for the day for you, and you'll pick up the rest of the lesson tomorrow, or not. Does estimating always work? Probably not, because it's just getting us close, and sometimes close isn't quite right. Complete exercise 4 together. Does rounding give you a correct estimate of the first digit? Does it give you a correct estimate of the next digit? Discuss what you can do to find the problem. So again, if you remember, first we're going to do normal division. Can I divide 3 by 54 or put 3 into groups of 54? No. Can I divide 35 by 54? No. So here we go. We're going to have a 2-digit quotient. And guess what? I think I'm going to go rewrite this a little bit bigger. Sorry that this takes up your time. While I'm doing this, you can think, what should we estimate 54 as? Well, 54, I'm going to round it to the nearest tens. 5 is halfway. It's almost halfway, but not quite. So I'm going to forget about the 4 and just go back down to 50. So in my head, I'm going to keep in mind our estimated number, our divisor is 50. I'm basically dividing by about 50. We said we can't go in the thousands or the hundreds. We're going to be in the tens and the ones. All right. So how many 54s in 350? No idea. So I'm going to say, how many 50s in 350? Well, how many 5s are there in 3? None. How many 5s in 35? 7. So I think there's 7. Well, there are 7 50s in 350. So there's about 7 54s. How much is 7 54s? Remember, I'm not multiplying by 50. I'm multiplying by my real divisor. 7 groups of 54. Oops. 7 groups of 54. My computer's getting wonky on me. 7 multiplied by 4 is 2 10s and 8 1s. 7 multiplied by 5 10s are 35 10s, plus 2 is 37 10s. So 7 groups of 54 is 378. Ding, 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 ding. I'm supposed to subtract that. Wait a minute. I am not going to take more out than what I had. I couldn't make 7 groups of 54 out of 350. So I overestimated. There's our word, overestimate. My estimate of 7 was over what the actual quotient should be. So all I have to do is, the other word we had is adjust. I'm going to adjust it. What do you think I'm going to adjust it to? You're right. If I overestimated, I'm going to adjust it down 1. So I'm going to have to erase it and erase that. And down 1 from 7 is, there's probably, if there weren't 7, there's going to be 6 of them in there. What's 6 groups of 54? 54 multiplied by 6. Probably could do that one mental math, but 6 multiplied by 4 is 24. 6 multiplied by 5 is 30, plus 2 is 32. 324, that makes sense. 324 is less, so I can definitely make 6 groups out of 54, or take 6 groups of 54 out of 350. So let's subtract and see how many didn't get taken out. 50 subtract 24 is 26. Or I could have went and ungrouped. 26, yep, I can't make another group of 54. So bring down my 9. 269 divided by 54. No idea how many 54s are in there. So let's use our 5 to help us from our estimate. How many 5s in 26? There's 5 of them. 5 groups of 54 we think are in there. That's our estimate. Now let's see if it works. How much is 5 groups of 54? Well, that one's really not too hard for me to do mental math. 5 multiplied by 50 is 250. 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. 250 and 20 is 270. Ding, 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 ding. I don't have 270 to use, so 5 was an overestimate. So I have to adjust. What do you think I'm going to adjust the 5 to for my quotient? You're right. It was an overestimate. I have to make it 1 less. I'm going to make it a 4. So now I believe there's 4 54s in 269. I'm very confident multiplying that mentally, because 4 groups of 50 are 200. 4 groups of 4 are 16. 216. If I take out 4 groups of 54 I'm taking 216 out. So I definitely have enough to take those all out. See how many are left when I've done that. 9 subtract 6 is 3. 6 subtract 1 is 5. And 2 subtract 2 is 0. That makes sense to have 53 left, because I remember before I had just 1 too many. Or I was trying to take 1 too many out. So I am just 1 short of being able to take another one out. And I will just write the 53 as my remainder. So now to answer their questions. Does rounding give you the correct estimate of the first digit? Did it give us this? Did rounding give me this digit correct the first time? No. But you know what it did? I had no idea how many 54s were in 350, and it put me within 1. So eventually it got me the correct one, did it? Didn't it? does it give you the correct estimate for the next digit? Did 50 give us the correct digit when we divided by 64? Again, no, because it told me I should use 5. But again, like I said, eventually it did, because then all we had to do is adjust it down 1. All right. So this is them walking through it, showing how, had we been together, we could have talked about it. How do we know that the first estimate, digit 7, is not right? Okay, so one of you would have said, because the new product, 7 multiplied by 54, 378, is too big to be subtracted. I like large, or too great. So what should we do? And one of you would say, try the digit that's 1 less. That would be 6. We should try 6. And then we would do it. And 6 would give us a product of 324. And when we subtracted, we'd have 26 left. Then, how do we know that the next estimate, made at digit 5, is not right? And one of you would say, because the new product, 270, is too great in value to be subtracted. And then it's going to probably snap me down. Then we'd say, well, what should we do? And one of you would say, try the next smallest digit instead. That would be 4. And we would. I probably should have moved this down. 5 gave us a product too large. Or 5 gave us a product too large. Notice it is just 1 too large. But when we tried 4, how come this one doesn't snap me down? Oh, there it is. Then when we tried 4, it gave us a product that could be subtracted, and that's what it did, is it left us just 1 too large. All right. So you can look back at this, shows you step by step how it all works, or you can listen to the video that I made. Now, complete numbers 4 through 7 on page 199, and then I will go over them. So here's 4 through 7. Pause your computer, complete them, then unpause it, and I'd like to go through them with you. Welcome back. 74. What should I round 74 to? 4 means we round down, so it's going to stay 70 in my head, which has a 7 to divide with. 74 is not going to go in there. It's not going to go into the hundreds. It's going to go into the thousands, or the tens and the ones. How many 74s in 365? No idea. So, right? We don't know our 74s. So I'm going to use the 70, because really all I have to do is think about dividing by 7. How many 7s in 3? None. How many 7s in 36? Well, 7 times 5 is 35. So there's 5 70s in 365. So then there's about 5 74s in 365. 5 multiplied by 7 is 35. So 5 multiplied by 7 is 350. Plus 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. That's 370. I hope you're going, ding, 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 Mr. Springer. Too large. So what did you do? And you're going to say, Mr. Springer, I adjusted my quotient. Since 5 is too large, or 370 is too large, and that was created by multiplying by 5. If 5 is too large, I'm going to adjust it down 1 to 4. And that Mr. Springer is going to say, way to go, you're rocking this. So now our adjusted quotient in the tens is 4. 4 multiplied by 74. I better do that one on the side. just because my brain's getting tired. 4 multiplied by 4 is 16, 1 10, 6 ones. 4 multiplied by 7 is 28 tens, plus 1 more 10 is 29 tens. Definitely not too large. Let's hope it's not too little or too few. There's where this is difficult. All right. I think I can count up because 4 more takes me to 300. Then 65 more. 65 and 4 is 69. Just as I expected, 69 is a little bit less than 74. So 4 was right. So my estimate wasn't correct, but it was super close. So it still made it easier. Now, I'm going to bring down my 1, just like we have been doing in division. 74s. How many 74s can I take out of 691, or about how many 74s are in there? No idea. So now I'm going to think about my estimate. It starts with a 7. So how many 7s in 6? None. How many 7s in 69? Well, there's 10 7s in 70. So there's 9 7s in 69. So there's about 9 70s in 691. So there's about 9 74s in 691. 74. Now I'm going to take 9 multiplied by 74, not multiplied by my estimate, but by my actual quotient, because I'm actually taking out 9 74s. I'm not taking out 9 70s. So 9 multiplied by 4 is 36. 9 multiplied by 7 is 63. Plus 3 is 66. Definitely 666 is less than 691. Let's see if we could take one more out. I think I'm going to regroup, so I'm going to change my color or ungroup. 1 subtract 6 is too many, so I'm going to ungroup and make 8. And that gives me 10, 11. Subtract 6 is 5. 8 subtract 6 is 2. 6 subtract 6 is none. 25 is a remainder. 25 is less than 74, so I can have 25 as a remainder. Woo! I did have to adjust one of them. Number 6. Let's rewrite it where we have more room. If I was you, I'd be doing this in my notebook and I would have more room. What's nice is that gives me a lot more room. What did you round 42 to? Well, 2 ones are not enough to take me up, so it's between 40 and 50. It's closer to 40. All right. There are no 42s in 3. I can't take 42s out of 32, but I can make groups of 42 out of 323. So I will have a 10s and a 1s. I have 2 digits in my quotient. No idea. Oh, I'm going to use my shade. And at school, I'd use a sticky, but if you just have another little piece of paper or a playing card or something, you can cover up that next digit. It's just a little thing that helps me out because I'm really doing 323 divided by 42. No idea how many 42s in there. So that's where I sneak over to my estimate. And I think of the first digit, the 4. How many 4s in 3? None. How many 4s in 32? Easy pleasy. That's a basic fact. There's 8. So if there's 8 4s in 32, there's about 8 40s in 323, so there's about 8 42s in 323. 323 now. I'm taking out not 40s, I'm taking out 42s, so 8 multiplied by 42. Don't ask me why I wrote a 3. 42 multiplied by 8. 8 multiplied by 2 would be 16 ones. 8 multiplied by 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. Mr. Springer's brain's going ding, 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 ding. Too many. So what did you guys do? Awesome. Sounds like you're getting this. You would adjust. And if 8 was too many, you adjusted to what? Exactly. 7. 7 groups of 42. And I'm going to keep this one here just in case I need 8 later. 7 multiplied by 2 is 14. 7 multiplied by 4 is 28, plus 1 is 29. I have 294. 294 can be subtracted here. Well, actually anything can be subtracted here, but I don't want to go in the negative. I could have taken 7 groups of 42 out. How many would I have left? All right. So 3 subtract 4, I need to ungroup some. 110 gives me 10 more, or 13 total ones. Subtract 4 is 9. 110 subtract 9 tens. I need to ungroup some. I'm going to group one of my hundreds. That gives me 10 more tens. Gives me a total of 11 tens. 11 subtract 9 is 2. 2 subtract 2 is none. 29 is less than 42. I'm good. Scoot this over, and now I can bring down my 1. How many 42s in 291? No idea, so I'm going to use my 4. How many 4s in 29? There's 7. So that tells me there's about 7 40s in 291. There's probably about 7 42s in 291. But 7 42s was 294. So there's not quite 7. So what are we going to do? You called it. We're going to adjust this quotient. So if 7 was too many, we're going to adjust it to a, oh, I couldn't hear you, but I think you said 6. 6, not groups of 40, because we're not putting them in groups of 40. We're not taking out groups of 40. We're taking out groups of 42. So unfortunately, I have to do another multiplication. Not really unfortunate, because it's good practice for me. 6 ones multiplied by 2 ones are 12 ones. 6 multiplied by 4 tens would be 24 tens, plus 1 more would be 25 tens. So if I took out 6 groups of 42, I multiplied 6 by 42 to say I took out 152 out of my number. Okay, 1 subtract 2, I'm going to ungroup. So I only have 8 tens left. 8 tens gives me 10 more ones for a total of 11. 11 subtract 2 is 9. 8 subtract 5 is 3 tens. 2 subtract 2 is 0. I have 39 left. Yep, those won't go into a group of 42. I have a remainder of 39. So, though I had to adjust my quotients, they really didn't hurt me any, did they? Oop. Last one. What am I going to estimate 23 as? You're right. The 3 says less than 5, so I'm going to round down. When I round down, my 10s stay the same. What goes down is the 1s go down to 0. So 23 is closest to 20 by tens. If I count by tens, 10, 20, 30. 23 is between 20 and 30, but closer to 20. So I can't divide, well, can't take out 23 out of 1. I can't put 1 into groups of 23. Same with 18. Again, with the 2-digit quotient. I think that's what they're just going to do to us. So I'm starting here. 189. How many 23 is 189? Don't know, so I'm going to use the 2. How many 2's in 1? None. How many 2's in 18? There's 9. So there are 9 20s in 189, so I think there's 9 23s. Now I think I'm taking out 9 groups of 23. So to find out how many 9 groups of 23 are, I'm going to take 23 and multiply it by 9. Oh, I should have just used my tens. 10 multiplied by 23 is 230. So 9 multiplied by 23 is 230. Subtract one more group of 9. 221. Bing, 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 bing. Too large, isn't it? So 9 is too big. So I have to adjust. If 9 is too large, I'm going to adjust it down to 8. Now I don't know that 8's even going to work. So I'm thinking 8, 23 multiplied by 8. 8 multiplied by 3 is 24. 8 multiplied by 2 is 16, 17, 18. Ooh, 184. Just made it. So my estimate wasn't right. It was an overestimate, but it really took me within 1. What's nice now is I'm real close. I can do easy subtraction. Just 5 left. 5 is less than 23, so I can continue. Bring down my 2. Again, I don't know how many 23s are in 52. I don't know my 23s. So I'm going to use the first digit in my estimate, the 2. How many 2's in 5? 2. So there's 2 20s in 52. So I think there's 2 23s in 52. Well, doubling 23 is easy. It's 46. Well, I didn't overestimate. So let's subtract and see if I underestimate it. 2 subtract 6. Nope. Ungroup 1, so I have 4 left. Gives me 10 more, because 1 of anything to the left gives me 10 to the right. 12 subtract 6 is 6. 4 subtract 4 is nothing. 4 is less than 23, so it can be my remainder of 6. So you get 82 remainder 6. If you're struggling with this still, rewatch the video, try some other problems, ask your parents for help. Once you feel comfortable with it, I have a little equation for you, so 2,975 divided by 34. Show me the estimate that you would use. What would you estimate? Do the division, and then if you would like to, you can check. And a check would mean to multiply your quotient by your one factor to get your dividend, or your quotient and your divisor is your other factor. It gives you your dividend. All right, and that you can share with me in your math log. Good luck with lesson 2. You guys are working super hard. I'm super proud of you.